Hi everyone, this is Deborah. Today I'm going to be doing a serious video and I want you to listen very carefully. If you want, I would take notes. If you got an ink pen nearby. While you're listening to these issues I'm going to be talking about, I want you to see if this is anybody that you may know in your life, or maybe it's you. So listen closely. I will tell you at the end what all this is about. So, if you ever met anyone who gets very upset with change of plans, if you have to change something because life gets in the way and they get really irritated and upset. Okay. Another thing is, are they very particular with their food? Or are you particular with your food? I, on the other hand, know a lot of people who don't want their food to touch, or they want it really hot, or they don't want anything that's got a certain texture. Also, do you know someone who has a tic or a routine that they do? Are they fidgeting? Are they doing something with their hands? Are they touching their face? If you know anybody who's got tics, something that they do to soothe themselves, or they're going like this with their beard, or they're playing with their beard, or maybe they got a habit of fiddling with their earrings. Also, do you know someone who is very sensitive to smells? Like the smell of gasoline, the smell of cleaning fluid, any smells that are out of the ordinary. Do you know someone like that? Also, if someone is wearing too much cologne or perfume, or if you know someone who can't stand to be around someone who has an immense body odor or bad breath. Another thing is, do you know anyone who is very sensitive to children crying? Or do they get highly irritated when they hear noises like gunshots or lawnmowers in the morning, chainsaws, any of these things? Do you know someone like this? Another thing is to hear an ambulance or sirens. Do they get really unnerved about that? Also, do you know someone who gets obsessive about topics? Do they always talking about this one thing relentlessly? No matter, every time you see this person, does this topic come up? Okay, another thing is, let's see. Do you know someone who only likes to wear a certain type of clothing? Whether it just be pants, or do they go out with their pajamas? Or do they have to always wear black? So keep that in your notes. Do you also know someone, or is it you, who cannot understand jokes or sarcasm? Do they give, like when someone tells a joke around them, do they have this quizzical look about them, like, well, I don't get it, you know? Another thing is, do you know someone who takes everything literally? Because, you know, maybe they can't stand, they don't understand a joke, so they take everything literally. Another thing is, do you know someone who gets a little bit of anxiety when they are out in public, or if they're going out to dinner, they have this immense social anxiety? Do they dread going somewhere where there's a lot of people? Okay, now that I've gone over all these things, let me tell you the rest of the story. If you know someone who has some of these issues, maybe not exactly the way I said, but close enough, I would say if they have like over 3/4 of these things, they could have Aspergers. I will spell that for you. A, S as in Sam, P as in Paul, E-R-G-E-R-S. Okay. It is a form of autism on the spectrum, okay? I sincerely believe I have this. So let me go over the reasons why I think I have it. When I was a little girl, my mother would sign me up for swimming lessons or piano lessons, and I fought with her. I didn't want to leave the house. I didn't like the change of routine, and that is probably one of the #1 signs of Asperger's. I like to do the same thing every day, okay? Also, with my food, my cold food has to be really cold. Like my milk has to be like coming out of the freezer. And my hot foods, like coffee, has to be very hot. I'm very particular about that. Also, a lot of you have complained about me fiddling with my hair. Well, that is a way I calm myself down and my anxiety. Also, smells. If I am around someone with bad breath, I back away. Or if they have, I love the smell of cologne, but if it's a raunchy cologne, I just go and hide, you know. Also, with the noise I talked about, if I hear lawnmowers going and I'm supposed to be sleeping, that highly annoys me. And I can't be around children who are crying. It tenses up my back. As you all well know, I have a very bad back. And I just had a new hip put in. If I hear children crying, it disturbs me more than anything on this list, really. My children never cried when they were growing up. So when I hear children cry or throwing tizzy fits, I get very upset. Also, obsessive topics. I was told many times that I'm always talking about certain things. I won't go into detail there for embarrassment for myself, but yeah, I do have a problem with obsessive topics. And clothes. I don't wear any clothes. It's amazing I got this on. No, I wear my pajamas at home. I never put on street clothes. I only put on street clothes to do a YouTube video or if I'm, of course, going to work. And understanding jokes from a very young age, people would tell me jokes and I would just sit there like a bump on the log. I don't get it. I've learned not to even say that because it makes me look a little dim-witted, but I don't get jokes. And I do take things very literal, yes, not figuratively, but literal. Also, I did a video maybe last month about agoraphobia, one of my phobias. I don't have it as much as the fact that I don't like to do anything that I haven't had time to think about for 3 days. If someone was to say, meet me right now, I wouldn't go. You know, meet me somewhere. I won't go. I have to get it into my head and think about it. So it's not so much agoraphobia, it's the fact that I just don't like spur of the moment change of plan. So look more into this if you want. If you think you have some of these issues, Google that word and there's actually tests. I've taken all of them and I score 100%. So it's nothing really to be ashamed of other than the fact that there is stigmas to all this. But the #1 thing I knew I was different is when I was about 11 years old, my parents were in their bedroom. And I've never, ever eavesdropped on my parents when they were in their bedroom with the doors shut. But this time, something told me to stand outside the door. And I guess because it was very rare that my parents were in the bedroom with the door closed. But I remember standing outside the door, and I remember my mother telling my dad that I was different. Now, she didn't say I was crazy. She didn't say I was obnoxious. She said I was different. And I didn't hear a response from my dad. But I always knew something was different about me than my classmates. So yeah, I knew I was different. Even my mother said it. She never talked to me about this. But when I was a teenager, my family was very loud family, and I liked the peace and quiet. I pretty much lived in my bedroom because I didn't like all that noise, but I did leave home when I was 16. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that I was different. So I hope you've come away with something about this video. Thank you for watching. Bye.